Well, happy Friday, everyone. Here we are with our Total Traffic and Conversion show. I'm Greg Dixon, Betty Withrow, and Roy DeCown. And our, our topic today is Project Organization for Growth, Plan for Success. Anyway, just since it's Friday and we're a little bit punchy, it came up whether it was project a verb or project a noun. And so anyway, so I think it can work both ways, right? A project is an active thing you do, or it's something you describe what you do, or we just project our insecurities out into the universe, whichever works. Anyway, Betty suggested this topic, so maybe you can explain what you had in mind.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to. First of all, happy Friday, everyone. As you can see, we are all slightly punchy, and that's what happens when you use your creativity as much as possible. What I was thinking of when I suggested this topic is the fact that when big stuff comes along you've been wanting to have happen, you have to create a method of organization, because once the momentum builds, it's too late to create your organization method. For example, I'm working on a project right now where I'm going to be fed material that needs to be pushed out pretty fast on a regular basis. And I know the basics of it. So last night I went ahead and created a folder for each one of these topics and put it into a larger folder along with the templates to use and so on, so that when the energy picks up to the next level, I'm prepared to meet it where it is and be creative about it instead of overwhelmed, because being overwhelmed is just not fun. And then this morning when we were setting this up, Roy came up with the question of whether the project or project. And I thought, well, that's fascinating. I didn't even think of that. Because and then it's like, okay, we're projecting success through our projects. Isn't it wonderful how the English language is so versatile and has so many layers of meaning for different concepts? But I digress. Getting back to the idea of actually being organized. When you are organized, it cuts the stress. Now I'm a freewheeling creative person. You can probably tell I'm wearing my actual Peter Max scarf from back in the day. And when I cut it loose, I want it to really be cut loose. However, I can't do that safely unless I have a good foundation and a good process to make that energy fill that base. So that's what being organized is really all about. Some people use Trello. Working with a couple of people who use Trello, they love that. I like to use Google Drive. Also, sometimes you got Airtable or Zendesk or some other platform. And so, what's the platform that's going to work for you, and or the method that's going to work for you that makes it so that you can just do your work and not be sweating the details, and just let the details be fun instead of not being fun. So that's my take on the topic.
That's your take on the topic. And I think related to this is you and I, when we were talking to people who are either creating courses or a book, is the first thing is to come up with an outline. And basically, most project planning is an outline. And even I will sometimes, even if I just have an idea, I'll compose an email, and I like bulleted lists, indented lists, right? And just brainstorm, and I'll send it to myself. But ideally, we will use Google Drive, and we'll have some kind of roadmap that we put, which is an elaborate indented list, or with sections. Yeah. Or when we put together a proposal, it's the same kind of thing. And I think I've done quite a lot of project management. I worked on a bunch of systems, and they all do 5 things really well, and then you can't get there from here. So for me, with it's almost using Google Tools is almost the best platform, because there's enough in there with spreadsheets and with documents that you can put headings in it, or indented list like I was talking about. Like that's a good place to start. But the whole magic is to put it into some place where you can find it, and if you're working with a team, somebody else can find it. So at least you're kind of on the same page. And anyway, Roy, do you want to jump in? What do you think about this here?
Yeah, I found that there are more people that want to work with Google Drive than other things. So I think that's really a really good one to consider most of the time. And you can always change from there if you're going to use Trello and all that kind of thing. That's good for some people, but not for most. So I think Google Drive is really an excellent way to organize. And so if you could project some of that organization my way, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay. That's a call to the audience. We project organization. And,
yeah. Well, and you mentioned outlines. Whoops. I'm still here.
Yeah, you're still here.
Yeah, you are. You freeze once in a while, but you're still there.
The weather's coming in here. We've been promised a doozy. But the mention outlines brings me back to, book outlines are super important for organizing your thoughts and doing your thing. I tend toward the most basic form of outline that I was taught in elementary school. I still use it, even if I'm working in Google Drive, which is the Roman numeral system, number 1, capital A, small 2, capital B, or small b, that sort of thing. And for me, it creates a really efficient flow because we can jump from topic to topic fairly readily and be able to find the place where what you're thinking about at the moment fits into the outline.
And then, the more I use it, the more I like it too.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
That's good.
It's basic. That's why it's so long.
Yeah. The other tool that some people use and I've used is a mind map. Mm-hmm. And actually it's an add-on to Google Drive, but you can add on a free mind map, and that's good if you've got something like let's see, an outline of Sir Richard Branson's projects, right? Which probably 2,000 or 3,000 nodes, and but you could do that on a mind map, and you click on it and expand, and you keep on expanding. So it's a really good tool there too. But the simplest really is, as Betty said, is some kind of list, and with a numbering system or a letter system, something that makes sense to you, or both. Yeah. And the advantage of a numbered list is when you're talking to somebody and they say, section 17 part B or something, or
right.
or IV 4, like the one, whatever it is. But you go take, it's like in a book. It says go read, like I've been doing some editing recently. It says chapter 7, page 32 or something. It lets you find out where you're on the same page, and so a number system can really help with that.
Yeah,
it saves time.
Yeah, it saves time. Yeah, and so they're not. Yeah, I get sometimes people come up and they want something changed, but they don't say where they're looking or what it is. Like sometimes when we're editing, I want to know, what's the word before and what's the word after?
Yeah.
Like that. At least I can search for it, right? So, so it's all really a communication and planning. And I put a little banner here. I'll put it up. Whoops! I just closed it out completely. So plan for success. So that's more. It's just what's that thing? If you don't plan, you plan. You plan to fail or something. Something.
Plan fail. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think being not planning, like sometimes if you're doing something simple and some people flow, can work sometimes, but the more complex it is, and also if you have other people working on it, you really need to document it and have it outlined. And also if you're doing marketing, you really should be tracking the numbers. Like, so you even know if you're succeeding. If you're just not really paying attention to anything, you don't know if it's working or not.
Yeah.
Know your numbers.
Know your
Know
numbers.
your numbers.
And I was just in a thing with Dave D this morning. He says, well, the main number of people, like if you're doing marketing with somebody, that the agency will count how many clicks they got. It says, you as a business is, how many new clients or what did you sell? That's the number, which may be 4 or 5 steps down in your funnel, but that's the most important number. You get 10 million clicks and 0 sales, and it's not really working. So
no, it's really working the wrong way, because you got to pay for the clicks.
Yeah, pay for the clicks. Yeah, that's bad. It's working for the platform. They're making money. So,
yeah, and that's the way they design it.
Yeah. So we why don't we step through what we do when we have a client come in the door? So maybe so Roy actually has somebody who's interested in retaining our services. So maybe we can walk through what we normally do. Usually we set up a meeting, right? And we meet with the client, see what it is they want to do, where they are and where they want to go. And Betty, you're probably the point person. What do you usually ask them in our first meeting?
Well, I ask, what do you want this to do? Like, what is the central purpose of this project that you want to develop? If it's a marketing project, what are you wanting your prospects to do? Is it to go to your website? Is it to sign up for your services? Is it to schedule a call? Is it to click buy now? How is that? What's the structure of that? Because that really helps to determine what's going to be the most effective way to get people to do that. From there, we go back into who is your client base? What are their values? What are they looking for? How are you going to supply that to them? And a number of other things in order to construct strategy that's going to bring about the results that you actually want. Like, for content marketing, what's going to be the best way to reach your people? Do your people open their emails, or do they just go, more email? Right? Or are you going to send them to your YouTube channel? Are they going to watch your YouTube informational material and decide they do want to get to know you? How are you going to reach them, in other words? And what is your last but not least, and then it circles back, is what's your brand promise? What do you actually do for these people? What, besides what do you want them to do, what are you going to do for them? Because that's where it all starts, really. The customer wants to know what's in it for me. So when you can answer that question for them, you're in a good shape. And then again, we can circle back and go back to the same exact question of what do you want this to do?
Yeah.
You'd be really proud of me, Betty, because I asked them.
Yes.
What would you like to have us accomplish for you? What do you want to do? What's important? And I found out it was grow the followers and increase engagement.
Yeah.
And then they went and then I asked, well, how did you find us? And they found it through one of my one of the sites that I'm on, and I said, I started to ask them what caught their attention, but I didn't even have to finish it, because they said, you were, besides all the other things that we were interested in, you can help with the social media, and that, I think, is the most important thing for us. So I said, great, yeah, we can certainly do that.
Yeah.
So I got us off to a good start. And when we get together, I think probably the next step is going to be all three of us talk at the same time, and we'll figure out how to put that together. And then it'll probably be Betty again by herself to get the detail that we need in order to really put the project together. Yeah. But I get the impression they kind of want to do this quickly. So,
okay.
So we're going to have to organize this one.
Yeah. So the other thing I'm going to say is we'll come up with a success roadmap for them, and almost always, Roy and I started doing reviews of people's online presence, and that's where most people have trouble. Is they don't, they don't may not even have a website. They might have a LinkedIn channel that talks about something they don't do anymore. May not have a YouTube channel, may not have social media channels. So that's part of what we would do. I'm thinking that this company we're talking about already has most of those things in place, but maybe not. So part of our plan might be to update the profiles in all of these platforms just to reflect what they're doing now. And if they're missing a few of those channels, we might suggest you don't need to do absolutely everything, but you can pick 4 or 5 things that you're going to do. I think even if people aren't opening the emails, it's something people should continue to do. Yeah.
Right. It's which is going to be the most effective in getting them onto where you want them to be.
Yeah, where you want to be.
I'm
And
not
we
saying
also
don't do it.
yeah, don't you know to yeah. And also the other thing is our general strategy is we'll create a piece of content and then put it out everywhere. So it's not like you got a project to create a Facebook post, and you got a project to do a LinkedIn post, and then a project to do an email. We're going to basically have the same kind of message that's going to go out everywhere. It may get edited and changed somewhat, and of course the video will be different. But a video that goes out on YouTube could also go out on all the social media platforms, as we're doing right now. We're a living example of it. So
Exactly.
Right.
Video marketing live and raw and as real as it gets.
yeah,
We
that's
don't
right.
do things that we haven't tried and had some measure of expertise
Yeah.
come from it. We're not going to. Oh, I read that. That ought to work.
Yeah.
No, we're not playing that game.
Yeah, and there's still a certain amount of experimentation with marketing, because things that worked a year ago aren't working now. So we'll try a number of things, and we'll track the numbers, and we'll if you find something that works, you do more of it. Like for example, if you've got an ad that is working on a Google ad or a Facebook ad, just pour gasoline on it, pour money into it, keep on pushing it up, so until it stops working, So if you're putting in $100 and getting $500 back, you keep on pumping in money until
that's for certain.
Until it stops, right? But the good thing about many of these ads is you can try things without breaking the bank. Like you can
$5 a day usually works out pretty well.
Yeah, $5 a day, and you can try it out for a week. And if it doesn't work, but if it does work, you just keep it going and maybe add another one to it. Excuse me, I've got I got a rumbly in my throat or something. There we go. So I'll try not to choke to death on live television here.
No, that wouldn't be good.
That wouldn't be good.
Can't help you.
Can't help you. Remote CPR.
And we don't want to have to do that.
No.
Well, they tell you to eat the frog, Greg. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Okay. And so the other thing is, our practice when we're working with clients is one of the things is we use LinkedIn a lot. That's many of the people our first contact is through LinkedIn. And then we will create a LinkedIn chat group so that we can update. And the LinkedIn is pretty good because you can actually send files through LinkedIn through the chat, whereas other platforms you can't. And it's a good way of keeping in touch. And then often we'll say, okay, I've just uploaded, let's say Betty has come up with a list of 7 posts for somebody, put it up into the Google Drive. We'll send a link. Those are all available now, and go check them out. And so it's a really good tool.
That's
and we meet once a week.
LinkedIn, because the last 3 people that I talked to I went on to LinkedIn, and all of them looked me up on LinkedIn after the conversation. So it just never stops. LinkedIn is really a good thing for that. It proves what you were talking about, so they know you're not just slinging the bull, but they can verify what you've just said by going to your profile. Of course, if it's set up properly.
Yeah, if it's set up properly.
Yeah.
I think all three of us will, if we meet somebody in a network meeting, I will do it even while I'm in the meeting, as I'll be looking them up on LinkedIn, and then I'll ask if they look like it's interesting. I'll ask for a connection right through LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And
if you don't have the connection, there's not as many things that you can really do. So that's important if it's somebody that's a good prospect or a good friend or a good collaborator, potentially.
Yeah, good collaborator. And sometimes indication of people who need our help.
Yeah.
I think I made a comment the other day. We were at a meeting and I just sort of sent out, 2 of those people have near zero online presences. Which reminds me, I should follow up with one of those people. But speaking of being organized or disorganized.
Yeah, the online and the online is it presences?
Presences?
I think so. But
Presence
anyway. I was wondering, is it Latin or not? I don't think so. But they're really getting harder and harder to maintain, especially on Google. So you really have to know what Google wants, which I study daily, so I can help there. And we try to understand all the platforms, because if you are able to present yourself in a manner that the platform is really looking for, it's going to pay off big time. It's going to make it so much easier. It's not going to cost you as much or anything, depending on how you want to do it. So to understand the platforms is big time, and that's one of the things we do. I think I can say we do it very well.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, there's a lot of nuances, even just LinkedIn, and they keep on adding more tools. And if you and they're not hard. Like if you have 4 or 5 things that you can do to make your profile quite a bit more effective right away. But it's it's an important tool. Anyway, I guess the what we're saying is we offer, between the 3 of us, we offer quite a range of things we do, and we can generate quite a few pretty elaborate, detailed plans and processes in order for your success. And the other thing is, we don't just send you a list of all the stuff you should be doing. We can actually do it with you or for you if needed. So.
Yeah, you don't really want to take all the time to learn all the things that we've learned over the years. Use our expertise that we've gained in a not so simple manner. Yeah. Not too few years. No, they're not a few years. They're quite a number of years. And our expertise is available. So
I think all 3 of us have called the other at one point and it says, I could probably learn to do this, but I don't want to.
That's right.
Help me.
Exactly.
And so audience, we do different things.
Yeah, and I think
our solution can be much bigger.
Much bigger. And we also have some referral partners that can help with things that we don't do.
We can make it even bigger yet.
Even bigger yet. More bigger. And I think that's our kind of thing, is to stereotype many of our clients. Many people come in and they've had people tell them what they need to do, and it's kind of overwhelming, right? Like Roy and I, we've been talking about even a simple landing page sign up funnel has a lot of moving parts in it, right? So And people say, I know I need to do that, but I don't have the tools to do it, or I don't have the time, I don't know how. So at least we can explain why it is a good idea, and we can help implement those things.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
either teach you how to do it or we can do it for you, whichever is the easier thing for you. Those options are available.
Sometimes it's easier for us to do it, but
Yeah, but sometimes people do want to learn so that
sometimes they do want to learn, yeah, and they
they,
want to,
they feel, well, gee, I can save some money if I do it myself.
yeah,
And then they find out how much time it sucks up. And they go,
yeah,
well, wait a minute here. Did they say they could do this for me? Well, I think we ought to revisit that idea.
yeah, no, for sure, yeah. Give it a shot. See what it's like to do it yourself. And the other thing is, many people have a bunch of different tools that don't talk to each other very well. So it's a matter of coordinating how they work together.
Yeah. It, if they don't try it themselves, they really don't understand what it takes. And so I think it's always good for them to see what it takes for them to do it. And then they know what they want to do and what they don't want to do.
Yeah.
And really, I think the best way to work with us is work with us. Don't
Work
let
with
us
it. Yeah.
do it totally for you. It won't be as good. And we don't necessarily know exactly what you want, which could change on a daily basis. But if we work with you, you can communicate that, and it all comes together, all that much more quickly.
It all comes together, and that's one of the purposes to have the weekly meeting. Is we touch base, we review what we've been able to do in the past week, and then we take a look at the priorities, because sometimes the priorities change. Like all of a sudden, a client comes in, oh, I've been invited to this event, so we need something related to that pronto. So so it doesn't mean all the other things on the longer list don't get done. It's a prioritization. You put something, make it more important now than later.
When a good possibility comes up, you don't want to, just say, I don't have time to do that. See if we can help you get it done, even if it's next week.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of things can happen in a short amount of time when you've got several people helping you get it done.
Several people helping to get it done. So I feel that we should probably summarize the kinds of things we help people with here. For example, Betty's background is in content writing, ghostwriting, book publishing, and she and I help a number of authors and course creators get things going. Roy is taken on his mission to learn how Google thinks. So all that search engine optimization, all the strategies to get found, and especially for brick and mortar companies that have a physical address, how to get listed in Google Maps and Apple Maps and other places like that. So you show up there as when people are buzzing through looking for something special. There it is. There's it right there. It pops up. You just turn left, turn right, stop. So all those kinds of things we actively do, and we help with content for people doing social media campaigns. And I guess the general term for all of this is integrated marketing. We integrate a lot of different approaches, and for some it could be Betty will be writing press releases or letters to send out, and we can help with even direct mail campaigns. Like if somebody wants to send out postcards or some kind of mailing, we can help with a lot of different stuff. And
one thing a lot of people don't do these days is email marketing, and you might not want to do it, but that's something we can really help with. And when you have a lead, you might sell that lead, but if you had an email marketing program through a funnel, you can keep in touch with that lead until they are ready to buy. They came to you for a reason in the first place, but they may not be ready to really purchase something today, but maybe they will in a month, or maybe they would even in a year.
In a year.
And you've already got the lead. Why not follow up on that?
Yeah.
We can help you with that. That's something very few companies really do well.
Yep.
We can help you do that.
I can give you an example of that. I signed up for, I think I met Dave D when he was working for Dan Kennedy's GKIC. And then I signed up for his mailing list probably 10 years ago. And in fact, I'm a bit weird, right? One day I never got something from for one day. So I panicked and I signed up again. So I think I've registered 3 times, at least twice now. I might have canceled one. And then 10 years later, I finally signed up for a paid program with them, right? So
There you go.
took me 10 years. And
Perfect example.
and I'm not alone in that. A lot of people, it says they're curious in what you're doing, but it's not the right time yet.
That's right.
Either they don't have the project that's needed for it, or they don't have the money. Or they have other commitments. But if you a steady email campaign, it doesn't have to be every day, but at least once a week, and maybe 3 times a week is sustainable. Just keep them in touch with what you're doing. If you've got a live event, if you're doing a broadcast, or you're doing a workshop or something like that, email. It's hard to get delivered because they're good chance of things will get into spam. Roy and I recently went through a bunch of configuration with Kartra in order to improve make sure that things get delivered, and that seems to be working really well. But you can be constant on it, and it doesn't have to be onerous. And Betty's written whole series, like maybe 20 or 30 emails that people can just sort of copy, put it into their program that they're using to send out the emails, and with some editing. And it doesn't have to take long, but you just have to kind of commit to doing it.
Yeah. And that goes back to the plan and the system and everything, like last year, at the end of the year during holidays, I wrote out my entire newsletter for 2024. And because I have it all planned out, on content day at the same time and the same day of the week, I put it on my different platforms and send it to my email list. And it's like, it's a no-brainer, literally. I don't have to think about it. It just is there. So that's what I'm getting at.
For success.
Structure. What's that, Roy?
You have planned for your success.
Yeah, plan for your success. And as Betty was saying, you don't have to. Some people will write a whole month's worth of social media posts, and then they'll tee it up with a tool like Meet Edgar or HubSpot or something that just puts it out. This one here goes out, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. This goes out Tuesday and Thursday, and then you don't have to do it on a daily basis. You can do plan a week ahead or a month ahead or even a year ahead. I made a comment one day. There's somewhere out in the world, there's a 10-year sequence, right?
Well, that's what paid off for getting you to actually purchase something. A 10-year sequence.
Yeah, like it wasn't necessarily like Dave D. He likes writing, so he'll get up and he'll write something every day. But in his sometimes when he's talking about a long-term sales structure, he's described having maybe an intense thing of 7 emails in 7 days, and then maybe once a week for a year or so, and then maybe once a month. But there is something 10 years down the road. Yeah, hi, do you remember me?
That's right. Yes, I'm finally ready.
I'm finally ready. Yeah. So I guess our question to our audience is, are you ready? Do you have a project that you want to move forward and are ready to do the steps? And so we start by an invitation to make an appointment with us. You can go to totaltrafficandconversion.com. There's a number of places where you can make an appointment. you can reach out to any of us through LinkedIn or the social media, wherever you're watching this, and make an appointment. We'll find a time, and then we'll have a conversation about what your project is, what you want to achieve, what you want to get out of this, as Betty would say. And then we will, even if you don't retain us, we will at least put together a little summary of what we talked about, and with some suggestions about things that you can do and consider doing. And then we'd love for you to work with us, but you'll get some valuable feedback and suggestions, even just from meeting with us.
So we suggest you do.
Yes. Yes. And so that's again, just reach out and contact us. And oh, Betty, you had a key phrase that we would end off our broadcast with. Remember what that was?
Oh, yeah, we're with you every step of the way, committed to your success.
Okay. We're with you every step of the way, committed to your success. So that sounds like a good way to end our Friday broadcast today. And I'll go see if I can actually find our little video out. And adios, salut. Actually, how many ways to say goodbye do you know, Betty?
Well, we can say Selamat Jalan, which means have a good journey. Or we can say hasta la vista, until we see you again.
Baby.
Yeah, that sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger. There we go. I'll be back. We'll be back next Friday.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir. In Quebec, salut.
Right, see?
Yeah. Sort of slang French.
Mm-hmm.
Hola.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Till we meet again. Sampai jumpa lagi.
Yeah. Arrivederci. See ya.
Right.
Roma.
Okay.
Auf Wiedersehen.
That's it. Okay, here goes the movie.
Bye.